Hi everybody, welcome. I am Laura and today I am going to be doing a fun video with my amiga, Miss Didi. You can find her here on YouTube under Didi Bean. Because I actually had Didi and Deline over today because we were doing our videos for the Tres Amigas Table Talk Thursdays. Didi stayed behind so that this way she and I could do a video to talk about cruising, because she loves to cruise. If you've been following her and you're a subscriber to her channel, one of the things that I do love doing aside from purchasing luxury handbags is actually travel, and I have cruised quite a bit. I had told Didi a couple of months ago that I wanted to do this video where she and I just talk cruises, and she can give you her do's and don'ts and just some fun tips and just some fun things about cruising. And so today's video, it's actually going to be in two parts. So this is part one because this was actually like a 2-hour conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and split it up. So this is my intro for part one, and we're just going to be talking about just some fun tips, what she's liked, where she's poured out of, as well as me sharing as well some tips, some of our favorite destinations. Whether you are an avid cruiser and you've gone on many cruises before, or you have been considering cruises and maybe have thought about it, this is just a fun conversation so we can tell you our experiences. So please enjoy part one of our cruise conversations, and be sure to stay tuned for part two. I will go ahead and post both of these videos at the same time so that this way you can watch them whenever you can. And also be sure that you are subscribed to Didi's channel as well as mine. We would love to have you a part of our YouTube families. So please enjoy part one, and I'll see you in part two. Everybody, welcome. Today, guess who I have sitting here with me? I think this lady needs no introduction, but this is my amiga, Miss Didi Bean here. And we just did a filming here earlier, but I said, can you please stay with me so we can do this fun video, because I've been wanting to do this with her to talk about cruises, because she loves to cruise.
My favorite subject.
Her favorite topic other than handbags. So we are going to talk about like our favorite pastime, what we enjoy about it, and especially in case you've ever thought to cruise, or maybe you do cruise, but maybe we're going to talk about some fun stuff that you might have not known, right? Because I'm intrigued, because her and her husband and family are avid cruisers, and I have taken several cruises. And also our spouses are here, so you might hear them in the background, but they might be giving us a little bit insight as well. But I'm excited, amiga, because
I'm excited about it. Favorite subject.
Yes, favorite topic. And so we're just going to be here, just shooting the breeze, chit-chatting about our favorite pastime, what we enjoy. This is why we work. This is why we work hard.
Yes. And
we want to spend time relaxing and living life. And we were talking about earlier how we don't want to have any regrets.
Exactly.
And we want to not hold off on doing things, and so we are taking advantage.
That's right. That's right.
Taking advantage. Life is short.
We tell our kids all the time that we are cruising their inheritance. So if they're expecting anything, you better come on the cruise with us, because they're not getting anything after the fact.
Exactly. So I actually have, we had wanted to do this as a live, but sometimes the configuration just doesn't work out too well, especially since we're here in person. And I was like, okay, let's just go ahead and just chit chat, and we'll just, keep on talking. And so if y'all have any questions for us, always put them in the comments and we'll reply back to you guys. But we're just going to be, Didi is going to be answering some questions that I have prepared, because I want to learn from the master. Yes. But I want to learn from the master, and just for us just to have this fun topic, because we always talk about handbags, but I want to talk about travel.
All right. And,
yes.
And for us, traveling is a luxury. So, we're both in the realm of luxury channel and luxury things that we do. And the way I define luxury is anything that you don't need, or if you need it, anything that's not the minimal cost. Above that, it's a luxury. You know, you need a handbag, you need something to put your stuff in, but you don't need a $20, $40, or maybe a $20 now. You know, I'm used to buying them for $10, you know, y'all. But you know, you don't need a $100, $200, $2,000 handbag, sorry. But we don't need that. That is a luxury.
Yeah.
You know, you just need something to put your crap in. That's it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you know?
yes, absolutely. I agree. I completely agree. Right, and we all
But
have
we
our
love
own
them
things.
though.
Yes,
But we love them.
exactly. We all have our own thing, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
and our thing is handbags, and our thing is travel,
yeah.
right? Because we're living it up. So we're gonna talk about some fun things, maybe some do's and don'ts. I want to learn some things that she's experienced and seen in her travels, and so we're just gonna have a fun time talking, amiga.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay.
Pick my brain on
Yes,
one.
yes. So okay, when was your first cruise?
In 2017,
Okay.
we went for our 25th anniversary,
Nice.
and we actually, it was a family, we made it a family cruise. Although, I don't think our son went that time, right? Who went?
Son and daughter-in-law did not go because she got pregnant.
Oh, that's right. I was like, why didn't they go? We have a son and we have a daughter, and they were going to go, and their significant others were going to go with us. But she had to bow out because she was right at that line, like
When you
have
can't
to be,
travel or
yeah, I think
whatever?
it's 24 weeks maybe or
Okay.
something like that. I think you have to read it and make sure. But she hit it on that time. Oh, and then I know what else. Actually, also too, what else happened is I think she was within a couple of weeks to where she could have gone. However, that was when the mosquitoes had that. What
like
was
a
it
virus
called?
kind of a
Yeah,
thing?
it was
or- West Nile?
the West Nile, yes, the West Nile virus, and so her doctor said no way, so
no
she didn't go.
chance.
Yeah, so friends of ours, our couple went with us that actually introduced us to cruising, and so they took their spot, and so that was history started right then and there.
You were hooked.
We were hooked.
Hook, line, and sinker, right?
Yes, we did. There you go. High five. Okay. Pun intended. But yeah, we went into that cruise because we waited 25 years to go on our honeymoon. So that was our honeymoon cruise. And every time that we would save up money to go, something would happen. You know, either something tragic or something major needed to happen. You know, the
Pay
car
for whatever,
fixed or
yeah.
something. Yeah. So that money always got diverted that way. But I get very bad car sickness. I'm like getting really sick, car sick. And so when we went, I said, okay, if this is the only time we're going to go, we're going to do it big. So, you know, we went all out and we got a suite because I said, if I'm going to be
nice.
most of the time in the room, I want to be able to see at least the ocean, you know, see the ocean when I'm sick in bed. So we got a suite, and, you know, we got all the back to them. They had the faster to the fun, and they had all this kind of stuff. And so we did it, did it up and everything. We got the kids' balconies and all that kind of stuff. And so, yes, we paid for them to go, but they didn't want to go cruising with us. Okay, yeah. So, but we paid for them to go and everything, and it was a really good time. We were really hooked, and I actually did not get seasick.
Okay, good. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah,
okay.
we did not get seasick because the doctor prescribed those patches. Scopolamine, I think is how you say it.
Okay.
And you put it behind your ear. You do it 3 days before. Started 3 days before you leave to on the cruise, and then you change it out every like 3 days or so.
Okay,
And so I took that. Took a whole bunch of Dramamine. Well, Bonine, Bonine is what I use. I prefer that because it doesn't make you sleepy.
Okay.
Dramamine makes you sleepy. And so I took that, and then we took the watch thing. I'm like, I had it all. Anything that they had to do, we had it all. But all I needed was a patch, and I was good. So.
That's good. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up, because my mom also, you know, we went on regular little boats, right?
Yeah,
and she was like, I know me mareo, like I get dizzy, and she had motion sickness, and I kept telling her, Mom, this is like Vegas on water, right? Like that's the best way I can describe it, because you have your casinos. I was like, my stepdad has all you can eat, pretty much all you can eat buffet, right? Like all the food that you can eat. And I said, and the boat is so huge.
Yes.
I said, I don't really think you're going to feel. You're thinking of a little boat and where it rocks and you feel it. I said, but this ship is so humongous. I don't think you're going to feel it. So it took me years to convince her to go on one, and she finally did. And she got the little patch, and she was like, I know me how, it was fine, and she enjoyed it. Yeah.
Now there has been like when we have been in some thunderstorms, and when we went to Hawaii, because we did do our dream cruise. That was our dream bucket list, and we went to Hawaii. But I was more sick from the airplane rides, and it really was more of a take off and
landing, lift off, and then
because
landing.
it messed me up, and you know, and everything, and so it took me a few days to get clear of that. Yeah, and then after that, it was fine. After that, it was fine. But yeah, there are people who are sick, but most of the time, the people who I find on the ship who are sick don't use the patch.
Yeah,
they're not.
They didn't go prepared, or
they're just using the pills, and I'm like, no, you gotta get the patch. You've got to get the patch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. Okay. So at this point, about how many cruises do you think you've taken?
I don't know how many. I know
Just like you don't count your
exactly.
Okay.
I know I count my cruises. I have taken 17, but
Nice.
But the hubs, how many have you taken?
16.
Because a couple of years ago, our daughter-in-law wanted to do was it a girls' cruise, a grandkids' cruise, and our son couldn't go, and
Girls cruise with Charlie.
girls cruise with our grandson. Yeah, exactly. But he couldn't take off of work. Our son couldn't take off of work, and the hubs really couldn't take off of work because it was a bad time. But it was the only time that the kids could go.
Gotcha.
Because of school and sports and all that kind of stuff. So we went, and I wasn't gonna go. And he's like, no, just go. So the girlfriend who I said my hometown BFF, she went with me, and we went, and we had a good time. We had a really good time with the grandkids and everything. But that's the reason why I have one more cruise in than he does.
Okay, so to me, once you find a good cruise line, it's like for me, like I find my favorite luxury bag, right? So what lines have you, I know you've always mentioned that you travel with Carnival. Have you always traveled with them? Or?
Yeah, that's the only one that we've traveled. However, we are planning to venture on into other ones. The reason we Carnival was the one that was just easier. It was the one at the time, because this was, how many years ago was this? Like 7 years ago?
Because it's like the main one that leaves out of Galveston for us.
Exactly, right. And but there was also pre-pandemic, so it was very different than it is now. A lot of stuff has, the world has changed since that. And so a lot of the things that we liked about the line, a lot of things that the perks and things and stuff, they're kind of not there, because everybody's skimping, because, they were shut down for so long time, so they could not, they couldn't make money, and they all took loans, all the lines took loans and stuff. But we ended up sticking with them because we wanted to reach the platinum level.
Okay.
So that we could get free laundry.
Yeah.
And what happens now is that some of the other cruise lines, I know, like Royal Caribbean, Virgin, what other ones?
Disney,
They match your status of whatever you're at.
Really?
Yeah. And then Carnival also has Princess. They do Princess, which is a little bit higher scale.
That's okay. Okay, then that makes sense, because Celebrity Cruises is like a step up above Royal. So then Princess is a step up above Carnival.
Correct.
Okay.
And so they didn't used to match your rewards, and they're doing it now.
Wow.
So now we're thinking about doing that, because that was the reason. It's like, if we're going to be going a lot, it's like, let's pick one and stick with it so that we can get rewards. Just like you get your Rakuten cashback.
Yes, or credit card rewards, whatever benefits.
Right, exactly.
Yes,
because like now we get some good deals.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sometimes where we get free inside cabins, and you're only having to pay your taxes and your port fees
and gratuities or whatever. Okay.
Sometimes we pay $100 for a cabin, for inside cabin, and we're like, hey, I'm all for that.
Heck yeah.
Especially trying to go into retirement, we wanted to get to the point where we could still take our cruises and not, go into retirement, not be deprived of that. And right now we take 3 cruises a year, and it might change, but what we do is we take a friend's cruise, which with that couple that we told you about, and then we took a family cruise with the kids and everything, and then we just took a couples cruise, him and I together. Yeah. Although lately, though, our couples cruise has become, it's like, as soon as somebody finds out, oh, you're going on a cruise, they're like, when are you going? I want to go.
They invite themselves.
Exactly. So we're like, oh, okay. And it's a very different vibe that when you go, because when you go with the family and you have the grandkids, it's very high impact. It's very go.
Yeah.
It's very busy.
I could see that.
It's usually those are at the end of May, early June. So you have a lot more
school's out and stuff.
School's out, so there's a lot more kids on board. There's a lot more families around. So the vibe on the ship is very different than when we go the other times of year. And the activities that we do are different, you know. So our relaxation, we don't relax. We're like on the go. There's hardly any nap times or anything like that on the family cruises. When we go with the friends cruises, it's a little bit more relaxed, but yet still they like to be more active. They like to gamble, so he stays up late a lot more. They like to do the shows, which I like to do the shows, so we go to the shows a lot. We do, you know, kind of different things, you know. Laying out by the pool is a little bit different because we like to just lay out and drink and, you know, and relax and do nothing. And they're out by the pool, but then they're like, let's go see this. And they want to see this activity, and which is fine. But we just have to be in the frame of mind of, okay, who are we going with and what kind of cruise are they expecting that one? Then when it's he and I, when we go by ourselves, it's just low key, it's relaxed, it's like no schedule, it's like napping. You get up, go to breakfast, come back and take a nap.
And then get up and do it all over again. And then go to lunch.
We lay by the pool, he finds a little corner, he goes out before I do, and I have to take my scooter because it's too the ship's too big. So I go on my scooter, he tells me where, he goes, well, I got our spot. I go, okay, I'm on my way. So we'll go sit in our little corner, park my little scooter, and then we usually make friends with a server, and they come by and by the time they get my favorite drink, and I just go like, all you have to do is go like that, and they're like, okay, be right there, just go like this, and he's like, okay, I'll be right there. You know, those are the best because there's no expectations from either one of us, or there's no expectations from the family members or anything. And it's like, if he wants to get up super early because he's an early bird, I'm a late night person, you know, and I'm like, and then if I get tired, then I get to go to the room, rest, and he can still do whatever. I don't feel like I'm ruining his vacation. He doesn't feel like he's putting too much pressure on me because I get to go, and then we can still hook up easily, you know, find each other. The hook up.
And that's the beauty of the cruising, is because of the itineraries and everything that they have.
That is why I love cruising, because we had got to the point where we were no longer vacationing, because I have, in case y'all have not watched any of our videos, and if you haven't, why have you not seen our Tres Amigas, please, okay? But I have an autoimmune disease. I have rheumatoid arthritis. My biggest number one symptom is that I have fatigue issues on top of all the other pain, inflammation, blah, blah, blah. But the fatigue is really what's my downfall. And we had got to the point where we just wouldn't vacation anymore because we just couldn't do it. We used to always rent a house down at Port A, and we used to kind of do all that kind of stuff every year. And it was just too much. It was just too much. So when we went on the cruise, it was like, it was the best thing because there's so much activities. The family could go and do separate things. Say, okay, let's meet back for dinner. Let's meet back for lunch, or not. You know, if the kids wanted to stay out late, like because they have like the club and all that kind of stuff.
And their kids have their own area, so the kids can go and hang out there.
Exactly. So. And sometimes our son and our daughter-in-law liked it too, because I was like, I'm going to go back and take a nap. So of course the grandkids would come with me. They would come, because at that time Carnival would have free room service.
Oh, wow.
So we would go back to the room, and they were like, why do I want to go back to the room? Because Granny would get room service for them. We would have our sandwiches and cookies, and we'd have a little picnic in the room and everything. And so I got to have a special moment with them. I got to relax. They were still out, you know, partying out, doing whatever, and because otherwise than that, I wouldn't be able to make any memories with the kids because I could not.
That's their time with grandma.
Exactly, and I you know, it's just a floating hotel.
Yes,
it's a floating hotel
with so many benefits, perks, and
you go to so many different areas, different ports, and you don't have to worry about flying. Like we went to Hawaii, we got to go to 5 islands, I think. Am I right? 5 islands. Yes, we got to go to 5 islands, okay? So we went to 5 islands, and we didn't have to take an airplane to each island. They just, you know, you go, and the next morning you wake up and you're in a new port, and you got to try new things and see new things. And to me, that was a great thing for the first time to see Hawaii. And we just enjoyed it, and you don't have to worry about packing up or anything like that. You're already there.
And that's leads me to my next question, but that was a good point as far as you going to different points, where the ships takes you to different ports, because that's what I've always enjoyed about cruising, is because I want to be able to test out that island,
Yes.
test out that destination to see how I like it. Because is that somewhere where I want to go and stay at, right?
Right.
To stay at for a few days or what have you, see how I like it, the vibe of how it is and how things are kind of convenient or whatever. So that's that's my one of the biggest perks for me as well out of cruising is I want to be able to see fun destinations. I don't have to be packing up every single time. And is it someplace that I want to go back to? Yeah, exactly. So now that you said you've gone to Hawaii, you've docked out of Galveston, you've docked out of Hawaii. What other ports have you docked out of?
We've gone out of New Orleans, and we've gone out of Alabama.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't like Alabama, going out of Alabama. The way that the setup is, the way that how the port is just kind of managed and stuff, we just didn't like porting out of there. It's not one that we recommend. You know, is it a smaller port? Was it a smaller? I don't know if it was a smaller facility. It was just definitely very different than Galveston. People don't like Galveston. You know, some people don't like Galveston. We did enjoy going out of New Orleans. That wasn't too bad. You know, the port itself, we got a really good because he wasn't a porter, but he was a like a parking person where they tell you where to park, because in there it's all garage parking, and we went to the garage parking and we just tip as you tip and you
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so I think the hub gave him, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks. 20 bucks, gave him 20 bucks, and which he got off a YouTube tip too. So the guy he goes, follow me, you know, because we had the handicap sticker, follow me, and he goes and he moves a motorcycle out of the way and he parks us right there, right in front of the elevator, there. So when we came back, exactly, we were right there. It was like, yes, it was the best. And he goes, I'll take care of your luggage. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, you know, no problem.
No, that's great. That's a great tip.
Yeah,
that is a great tip, because especially getting there and having to unload and do all that. But then by the time when you're come back, and if you might have brought back things, or you're just ready to get to your car and then go right home. So especially to have it like right there waiting for you, that was
the best. Yeah, we were like, everybody looks at us like, what? I was like, you gotta watch YouTube.
And you're right. Every port is different, how they handle and how they manage it, and it's like a different experience, right? I've ported out of Galveston. That was my first one. I ported out back in 2005, and we don't have a lot of, back then we didn't really have too many liners out here. It's basically Carnival.
It's grown now in this past couple of years.
We'll have different ships come, and then they'll flip, right? They'll swap out and stuff. And then I've gone out of Port Canaveral, because in order for us at least for me, I feel like in order for us to get to the farther southern Caribbean islands, we have to go to Florida, but even Florida only goes so far, or you have to wait for an itinerary to finally come up to get you down to Aruba, St. Kitts, Barbados, those good ones. And I love that itinerary. And so I've ported out of Puerto Rico a couple of times because I want to hit those islands.
You were telling me about that last time. I didn't share that with the husband yet. I completely forgot about that. But that was a really, really good tip. Now, the thing is that the good thing that's come out of the pandemic for Galveston is that because Galveston opened up before some of the other ports, because Texas stayed open pretty much. So the liners decided to invest in the Galveston port. So Royal Caribbean has made this big, luxurious...
they have their own section, big section from what I hear.
Yes,
right?
and it's really... We've seen it from the outside, and we've also seen videos and stuff from the inside. It's really nice, but it's impressive. It's impressive. And now I think Carnival, there's 2 terminals now, and I think we have three or four ships now that are regularly there. Which also means we're getting the bigger ships, or getting the ships that can go longer. So we are pouring out of Galveston in November. We're going for a 12-day. We're going to Aruba, Jamaica, Bonaire. I always do that. So we're going, that's another
Yes.
That actually wasn't even on the bucket list because that was something that I never even thought we could go to. So when it came up, he's like, "We are going."
That's a good one.
Yeah, he says, "We are going no matter what." You know?
Yes.
And we got a really good rate. I mean, a really good rate on that one.
That's
because
good.
we had cruised so much.
Yes.
And so
And for that long.
Yes.
A good rate for that long. For that long a time.
So we were able to get that one, and something I never thought of. And it wasn't an itinerary that went out of Galveston before.
No.
Prior
So
to,
when you told me you were leaving out of Aruba, for a minute there, I had thought, I was like, oh, she must be going back to Louisiana or somewhere, right, to leave out of there. Because those are very hard to come by, that itinerary that you're doing. Just because of like our distance, right, where we're located. And typically all of our trips are normally like the Mexican Caribbean, right? You go to the typical Costa Maya, Cozumel, Roatan, Honduras, and Progreso, which I think is a dump. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
No, he feels
there
the same
really
way.
isn't,
Yeah,
you know, there really
way,
isn't much to do there. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And I went 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, back in 2005. Yeah.
At all,
so, and it's unfortunate, but it is very Mexico.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know like how it truly is, it's still kind of like rustic like that. Don't expect a lot of what you would see at other ports that we would normally dock at, right?
Now, when we came back from Hawaii, we had to stop in Ensenada because there's that the U.S. has that law or something that you have to go into.
There?
You have to go to a foreign port, international port. To
stop
cruise.
in another country.
You have to stop in another country for every itinerary. You have to. It's part of the U.S. Mariners Law or something like that. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up.
If the ship is not flagged out of the United States, then they have to stop in an international port.
Okay. He said if a ship is not flagged out of the United States, then they have to stop
at an international
port. Okay. And so we stopped at Ensenada, and it was only for like 4 hours maybe or something when we were coming back. But actually, we had a really good time there. I would love to have stayed there longer. But you're right. It was a lot more rustic. It wasn't developed.
Yes.
Because you're in the town. They port you right in the town, whereas other places they port you in a port, and then they have lots of they bring stuff in there, and then you go out into the town. Where here the town is right there with
exactly.
the port. But it was such a different vibe, you know, because they were very welcoming. They were ready. You know, it was their daily city, so it wasn't like just pop-up tents for the day.
Right.
You know, so you got to see the daily shops and the shops that they had, and the food was delicious. The food was so delicious. You know, it was like, oh, we have to have some food, so we had some good food there and everything. So I would like to go back there for a little longer because we
only there for a few hours.
Yeah, we were only there for a few hours, and it was like towards the evening, towards the evening time, and so we came back earlier because it got cold. We would have stayed out there. It got cold.
Because temps drop in California, right? Like we're not used to.
We weren't prepared for that. I mean, I wasn't prepared for that. I was like, let's go back. But
I've been wanting to do one out from California. I eventually would love to do one out of Hawaii, right? See the little islands. But I see that's a common one, right? You have to stop in Ensenada, especially out of California.
We stopped
at Long Beach.
We ported out at Long Beach.
Okay.
Is where we ported out of Long Beach. Because to go to Hawaii, you can go to Long Beach, Seattle, and San Francisco, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So we chose the one out of Long Beach, and it was good and it was bad. It was good and it was bad. I think the airport do not fly in or out of Long Beach Airport. No.
Okay. Good tip.
No.
Use LAX.
Use LAX. Yeah. The Long Beach Airport. No.
No bueno.
No bueno. Yeah. Because they're so small that you can't even get into the terminal. You can't even check your luggage. You can't do anything until you're like maybe 30 minutes or to an hour outside. Well, the when you come back from the ship, it's 8:00 in the morning, and if you're like we had. I think our flight was maybe 1 or 2 or something like that. So it's like, okay, where do you go for that time? You know?
Yeah.
And then let me tell you. So you're inside where you check in. Then you go outside.
Okay.
And it rained a little bit, so we got little sprinkles on. Then you go back into the terminal, but they don't cover and have those tunnels and stuff. You're going and you're climbing up.
Out to the tarmac.
The tarmac.
Oh
You're on the tarmac, yeah. And I'm like, hello. I'm like, okay, so it's like in the movies
Yes.
when they go, but it's not a fun thing. It's not a fun thing. It was not a fun thing. So I was like, no. So do not do it.
That was not a good one.
Don't
That was not
do
a good
it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the 17
Okay, 17
cruises,
cruises.
what have been your, okay, I want to know, what's been your best cruise trip or itinerary so far that y'all have taken?
With he and I, it's a Hawaii.
Okay.
Hawaii was the best. Yeah.
Okay.
It was because it was definitely a bucket list. It
Mm-hmm.
was something that we had always wanted to go to, and it was one of those things when we had looked into going to it. We had looked into like we're just going to one island, you know, when we thought about flying there. Where here we got to do to all the islands, you know, several islands, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was good, and it was like. I think we were gone a total of 19 days, and it was a 14-day cruise.
Okay.
That was fabulous. I mean, it was fabulous because you really got to unwind. You really got to decompress.
Yes.
You really got to just live.
Take it in.
Take it in. Live a life at the sea, you know, and it's a very different vibe when you do a long cruise. It's a very, very different vibe. The vibe is that. It's older people, you know.
Yes, that can be on the ship for that long. You're not going to have a lot of children.
Correct.
Good point.
Now, there were some kids on there, you know, some younger kids. They were like homeschooled and stuff, but we were on there and, you know, there was like no nightlife. My husband and a friend of ours, the gentleman that goes with us, they went out one night and they were gambling, and he said, you know, it's kind of got boring in there because everybody was like leaving, you know. So they said, well, let's go check out the club, the nightclub. So they went to the nightclub. It was them two, and then like two other man and some other couple of girls that were on the floor dance floor. He says it was dead. He said the DJ was just there. Why
are we even here? Really, do y'all want us to go back on your place?
Yeah, it was hilarious. He said there was like nobody
That's
there.
too funny.
Yeah, so you have to be prepared to do that, especially if you're like young. There were some young couples, and they were fine with it because they wanted the relaxation. They wanted to just relax. They weren't there to party. Yeah.
Did you have a few days at sea between the ports, or were you kind of a little bit?
Yes.
Next.
It actually, the one that we went on was very, very well planned because we had 3 or 4 days ahead up at the front of it.
Okay.
Then it was port for 5 days, and then we had several days coming back.
Okay.
With the 4 hours in Ensenada, and then we still had another full day before we came back. You know?
I gotcha.
So it gives you that time to where you're not feeling you have to pack up really quick, you know, after a port and go. It was that the itinerary he found it, and it was a really good one because there's some of them that were. You have all the sea days up front, then you port, then you come back and you're exhausted.
You're exhausted.
Yeah. And so we try to stay away from those now because I can't handle those. Because then driving 8 hours home or flying, in that case we flew, the plane ride just really, really did me in, both going and coming, because it was just a lot for me.
So you needed those days to kind of like decompress from like, you're right. And that's especially going out of the, when you're doing like those Southern Caribbean cruises, when we've done Puerto Rico, I've gone a couple times, and you are back to back. You're hauling butt like every day, right? Like you are going every day, go to see those cruises. And it's basically one day at sea coming back, pretty much. And that's your like one day to decompress, and then you got to hurry up and like get off. And it's nice because you really see them.
And you really don't get to do it because you have to put, if you're going to check your luggage, you have to put it out by 11. So you're having to spend half of that day packing.
Yes. Now, you're right. And so it's nice because you can see that many islands, especially when you're wanting to kind of visit them to determine whether you want to go back to them or not. But it is, it's nicer when you do have a little bit more days at sea in between. So you can really like decompress, but then also enjoy the ship. And a lot of times those itineraries, at least for me, from what I've experienced, is especially on that type of itinerary, when you are go, the ships that we've taken are very kind of basic, minimal. They not a lot of bells and whistles because you don't have the time to enjoy the boat really, right? Because they're pretty much expecting the majority of the people to get off of the ship. Right. Very few that will stay on. So it's not going to have all of the big ass slides. You know, they're not going to have all of that extra stuff to get on them and stuff like that. So those itineraries, they're very go. And I don't mind it, but it is, you come back and you're like, hijo, I need like another few days.
Yes,
I need a vacation from my vacation. Yeah, exactly.
We went on the one in Hawaii. We really liked the ship. We went to, it was the Miracle?
Yes.
Yes, it was the Miracle. So it's an older ship. It's definitely an older ship. But the difference between the older ship and the newer ships is that in my opinion, the older ships are built with the common areas a lot bigger, meaning they're like, for instance, the piano bar is a big hit. That area, the comedy club, just where you go to the bar area. There's always the main bar area. I forget what it's called. That's just built bigger. Whereas now, because they're trying to put so many things on a cruise ship, that the areas are smaller, and then you're trying to, because their thinking is there's so many activities that you don't need a lot of space.
Yeah.
But there are some activities that are more popular than the others, and it's jam packed, and it's horrible. It's horrible, and so we prefer a little bit the older ships. Like, we really like that one because it's built very good. It's built for relaxation for more people. Even though it's smaller, it feels bigger. It feels bigger.
Interesting. So. Is the I think, like, I know you mentioned, so your favorite was coming out of going towards the Hawaiian Islands. Mine was coming out of Puerto Rico, because I was able to hit St. Kitts, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Thomas, like all those good ones.
St. Thomas is one of the ones that I really want to go to, but we know that we have to go out of, I guess, Florida.
Either Florida, if you don't go down towards Puerto Rico.
Yeah. That's right. That's what she was saying, honey. That if we go to St. Thomas, if we go out of Puerto Rico, that
because it's literally like 30 miles. It's literally like 30 miles from Puerto Rico to St. Thomas. But they just drag the boat slower so you get there the next day, because they want you to drink and want you to gamble and all that sort of stuff, right? They can be there within 30 minutes, but they're at that knot speed, right? It's going like super slow. But it's really, really, it's very picturesque. I absolutely fell in love with St. Thomas the first time I went, because of just the way the houses are situated. It's kind of like hilly, right? But it's very, very picturesque, that island. I actually love it. And it's great for shopping. At that time they had, I know we talked about this, they had the bigger stores, like the Gucci and Louis Vuitton, but then they closed them down. So it's really mainly more for beaches, for the sightseeing, for the beaches, and then doing like more so of the shopping of like jewelry, like Cartier, they sell Cartier there and stuff like that. So that's really it's good. It's really more for the duty-free shopping.
Yeah, and so that's what I was saying. For me though, for St. Thomas, as I want to do the beaches. I want to just go and
they have beautiful beaches. Beautiful. Sapphire Beach was one of our favorites. So when you do go, I have a contact that'll give you a good tour of the island. Good. I've used him a couple times already. Okay, he's wonderful. Yeah. He's actually a fireman.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually a fireman, and he does a little side hustle, and he has his little bus.
Oh, nice.
And he gives you a really, really good tour.
So aside from Hawaii, what's the other one that you think that we had a good time at, or that we enjoyed?
Well, we like Honduras.
Is that really nice? Okay.
Yeah.
Roatan, it's where we could be private bungalow.
Oh yeah.
Water bungalow.
Yeah, they had the bungalows on the water, and you could rent it for the day or whatever, and they were very, very accommodating. They were very accommodating, and you go down to the beach, and then there's like all this party stuff going on, and you go out to the water, and it's just private. I think there was like 13 of them. Okay. And so and it becomes like your own little club, Oh wow. And they the food was included, the drinks were included, all that kind of stuff. It was really nice. And that particular cruise was our first time on a big ship, which was the Vista. Okay. That's where I blew my knee out, and that's where everything went downhill health wise for me.
Oh gosh.
It was like but they were
because you were dancing.
I was dancing with all the abuelitas. Okay, let me tell you, we were at the Havana Cabana bar, right? The first night, okay? Then I didn't need a cane, I didn't need a walker, I didn't need a scooter, nothing.
Sometimes you dance better than you can walk, right?
Oh my goodness. These ladies were the cumbia, and they were doing it. I was like, I'm like, they're like 90 years old, and I'm like tired as crap, right? So I'm trying to keep up with them, because they're like, come on. And he was videotaping me, right? And you could see in my face where my knee popped, because I went like that, And let me tell you, the next day when I had to get the wheelchair and all this kind of stuff, and he had gone out, and the Wi-Fi was messed up at that time, and so I couldn't get him on the phone. So I'm trying to go into a wheelchair, trying to get out there, and it's not, it's a one that you power yourself, right? So then I got these little abuelitas, right? They said, "What happened?" I told them what happened, and everything, and they're like these 90-year-old ladies who are pushing me in a wheelchair. I was so embarrassed. I was like, "No, you should be going."
They're like, the way around.
Exactly. And they're like, "No, Mia, let's go. I'm like, "Ah, Chihuahua.
No quieres bailar otra vez? You want to go for another dance?"
Exactly. They're like, yeah, we never went back to the Havana Cabana, but we would see them later on. They're going, "You gonna come now?" I go,
like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I was like, "Oh yeah, those little old ladies, they just wore me out. They wore me out."
Okay. So the worst kind of like place that you kind of left out of was, you weren't a fan of Alabama. You weren't a fan of Alabama.
Was that be our worst?
Not a fan of it?
The leaving.
Leaving.
Alabama.
Docking out of it?
Yeah, docking out of Alabama was probably the one we least liked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons.
There's a lot of other reasons too that we can't talk about on YouTube.
Yeah.
But mainly that was a rough port. And then we were also, was that when we were in the hurricane?
Yeah.
Yeah, tropical storm.
It was a hurricane.
It was a hurricane. Yeah.
We got an extra day at sea.
But we did get extra
nice.
day at sea, so that means we got more points, and everything was free because we had that extra day. So I was like, "Hey, strand me on here." And the hurricane actually wasn't the bad part. It was the port and all that kind of stuff was just like not a good vibe for us. Yeah.
Is there a stop within the itinerary that you've gone to where you docked to get off in one of the ports that you visited that was like your least favorite, disappointment, or wasn't all you thought of?
Belize.
Yeah, Belize was very disappointing. The exciting thing of Belize was the sign.
Where you can say, "I've been here."
Exactly. You have great pictures at the sign, after you wait in line like for hours to try to get your picture. But other than that, there wasn't much to do there, and they was not organized like very well at all. They didn't have it like. Some of the ports are like catered to the ships and have things organized.
Yeah.
The cities, the countries rather, are prepared like as a country. They're prepared
for it, to handle it.
Exactly, to handle it. And there just wasn't much to do. There wasn't much, what are those called? Excursions, either through Carnival, because at that time we would do just our excursions strictly through Carnival, and they didn't offer very many. And then when we went to try to venture out on our own, it was just kind of like there really wasn't anything to do. There wasn't anything there that you could, because usually they're accosting you at all the saying, "Hey, come do this, come do that," and there really wasn't any of that. So it was so we just walked to the sign, took our pictures, walked back, and got on the ship. So it was like wasn't too much. So at least when we went, so there was nothing to really immerse yourself in the country or anything.
And it's unfortunate because they've been porting there for a hell of a long time, since 2005, 2006. Like they've been porting there for a while. Because I've been doing research, and it looks like they might have maybe done it up a little bit, but it's always like, okay, what do you do there? And I always too like to, it's nice, you feel more, sometimes they always recommend, they say, okay, book through your cruise, so through the ship, right? But for me, I know when I always wait till I get off the boat, especially when we've gone to these Southern Caribbean islands, and because I like to do island tours, like take me around to see from the people that are there, and because you book through them, the money really goes more back to them when you actually book off of the off of the ship.
Well, see, okay, here's your introvert, where your introvertness and your extrovertness comes into play. Okay, I always talk about on my lives. I always ask my guest is, are you introverted or are you extroverted? How do you manage your channel? How does this help you or whatever? So once again, that's where this comes into play. The hubs where he is an introverted person, it's like he doesn't want to be left behind. He doesn't want the ship to take off without him. He's not very adventurous as far as just on the whim doing something that he's not familiar or comfortable
Yeah.
with. He does talk about somebody who's doing research. He has to do a bunch of research, watch a whole bunch
Yeah.
of stuff on YouTube. So unless he finds an excursion or something that he has seen on YouTube or seen somebody do a good review on it, and it has to be a good review on, it's not something that we venture into. The main thing about going through Carnival is the fact that if that excursion is late for any reason, runs behind, Carnival will wait for you. If for any reason you're like super late and they have to move on to go to another port, then Carnival will take care of you going from that destination to the next port. Yeah,
that's good.
If you go on your own and you're late or you're behind, which is rare but can happen, then you're SOL.
Yeah,
you know, and then you've got to figure out how to get to the next port.
Have you seen people that missed it?
Yes,
many times.
Yes,
right?
many times. We've seen those the pier runners, you know, the pier criers. Oh, it's like, hey, you know,
they've been honking that horn, right? They've been blowing the horn, right, to kind of like let you know.
Exactly. You can hear it all over the islands wherever you go. But we because we try to get back. We set our alarms. I think he sets our alarms like 2 hours before it tells you to be back on board. Okay, and then we're headed back already in that 2 hour period because he's like, we're not taking any chances. Yeah, because you never know. It may take a long time to get through because you still have to go through their ports.
Yes.
And usually it's just a matter of it's just a matter of flashing your
card, whatever it is to get in,
card badge or whatever. But there has been times where I'm trying to think where it was that we were there with maybe it was a Cozumel, I think, that there was like 2 or 3 ships there, and the line was long, very long to get through because there was so many other ships there that to get through they just couldn't do it. And then because there was so many people there, they had the dogs out to go sniff for all the stuff
because you're in Mexico
and they want to make sure that you're not bringing anything illegal on board, you know, and all that kind of stuff and everything. So you know, and they need to do that, and I feel comfortable doing that. It's just a matter of the fact that it takes longer. So that's why we're like, 2 hours, we're coming back.
Also, we recommend you actually listen to the people when you get off the bus of what the locals are asking you.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to come over here and tell us? Did you want to come over here and tell us what that means? Because I'm not telling that story. Come on, tell us the story.
When your wife gets off the bus in Jamaica and they're guiding you off and somebody comes up and says, "Do you want smoke? Do you want smoke?" And your wife goes, yeah. And the person follows you and goes, "Well, come on, I got smoke." What? And I have to tell my wife, he wants to know if you want marijuana. No!
When we were in Aruba, since y'all are going there, but we were staying at the resort, right? And so David and I, we were walking out because he's always looking for crabs. Like he always wants to go to the beach and then look for the little at night, right, to go and get them. And so he was like, come on. I think it was our first night, right, Amor? I think it was our first night that we got there. And so here we go. So we're like walking, and so we go out, and so we're walking around, and here comes this gentleman, right? And because we were attached, it was part of the DV chain resorts, and we were attached to like a all-inclusive one. So we were just out there by ourselves, and we were out there in the water, and here comes this guy, and he was like, "Hey man," he goes, "Hey, you want some get it? What do they call it? Jenga? What's another nickname for it? Jenga, something like that.
Like
he was like, "Hey, you want some Jenga or whatever?" And I was like, what the heck is he talking about? And Dave was like, no, keep on walking, dude. Like, keep on walking. But it's funny because you never know, right? What they're going to be offering.
Well, you know, the thing is, because they also too, they didn't let us off on the sidewalk side. They let us off in the street side. Okay, so I'm like worried about getting hit or whatever because they're crazy drivers. Now I loved Jamaica. I loved going to Jamaica. I mean, I would go again. They not so much, but I loved it. But so you're getting off there, so that's the first thing. So then some of the guys our guide people were like, get up against the bus,
Okay.
to get as close to the bus as you can, you know.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do that. So he was dressed in like a suit and a white shirt, or at least that's what I remember, you know. I could be all wrong. And so, you know, so he looked very professional. He looked like he was part of the bus people, you know. So I thought he was just trying to guide me, you know, to the side, you know. And in the meantime, you have these cars going whoosh, 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 you know, right next to you, and I'm like, oh Lord, you know. So we're going, and so I don't know what, I couldn't hear what he's saying. I couldn't understand his accent, you know. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just saying yes. Don't ever just say yes. And then we get over there, and they're all like. So then they all come over because they're all excited, and they're all looking at me like, what's going on, you know? And he goes, that's what he did. He said that they said they want some smoke. I was like, no! And then of course they started laughing at me, you know. The people, the guys are like, oh, darn it, you know, but yeah, it was pretty bad. And I have not lived that down. That was, I don't know how many years ago, and I have not lived that down.
Too funny. I would say, like, the ones that you say, like, your least favorite. My least favorite was the Progreso, Yucatan, right? Not Progreso, Mexico, because we have a border Progreso town across from Texas. But yeah, Progreso, Yucatan, just because it is more like, it's just more rustic. It's going to be not going to have a lot of bells and whistles, thrills. Like, you'd have to.
And they didn't really have anything in the port. They had a nice, pretty sign to take pictures at, you know. And I didn't get off. And then when I went by, because that was one of the stops when we had the girls' cruise with our grandson.
Yeah.
But I didn't get off because I had a hurt knee. And then when he and I went together, did you get off at that one time?
What?
At Progreso?
I've never been.
Oh, you've never been to Progreso. Sorry.
You didn't miss anything.
So you didn't miss anything. But yeah, so I didn't get off. I just could see it from the thing, and we had seen videos about it before, so I was like, nah, I'm not getting off. And everybody else who got off, they said, oh yeah, it's not.
It is literally like true Mexico. Like when I crossed the border with my mom, and you have the dead chickens hanging, like you have the open air marqueta, and you have the chickens and you're like, and the flies are everywhere, and you're just like, I was like, no, you know. So I was like, not a fan of it. Okay, so favorites. I've gone to Hawaii. Any other favorite ports that you visited, that you stopped at?
Well, I love Jamaica. Which is the second Jamaica that we went to? The middle one. Has that funny name.
Ocho Rios.
Not Ocho. We have never been to Ocho Rios because they Falmouth. Yeah,
okay.
Loved Falmouth. Loved it. It was really, really a beautiful port. The people were so nice. They were so nice there. Very grateful for us to be there. Very accommodating. We did try to go to. There was wasn't there a Margaritaville there? There was a Margaritaville there.
Very crowded, though.
Huh?
It was
Crowded.
Very crowded, though. We ended up leaving because it was, you know, we never got waited on because they were slammed. They got slammed, and so we just went ahead and left and went to another. I don't know if we ended up going to another restaurant. That's the only negative about the couple that we go with. He's pretty adventurous when it comes to the food. She is not. She's not even
Like even when she's home, she's not adventurous here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the rules that we established the next time was like, okay. So when we went to Ensenada, we told him, because she was like, well, no, I'm going to eat on the boat. I said, okay, you go do whatever you want to go do, but we're going to go get some food because we didn't get any jerk chicken on that.
It blew out.
Oh!